Section 7.5 is titled Using the Percent Equations. And what's nice about this is that I've actually shared this method of solving with some of you. I actually didn't realize that it was coming up in the next section. So a percent equation is an equivalent form of the percent proportion in which the percent is written as a decimal. So I talked to you about this as blank percent of blank is blank. And the equation is the percent times the whole equals the part. So you can remember that either way. So let's look at some examples. Find 62% of 75. So remember, the of is that multiplication symbol. So it's going to be 62% times 75 is going to equal some number. But we want to make sure we change the percent to a decimal in order to use the equation. So in your calculator, you're going to take 0.62 times 75, and we get 46.5, or 46.5. So 46.5 is 62% of 75. Let's do another one. 60%, remember we want to change that to a decimal, so 0.60 or 0.6 of 96. That's your multiplication. Of is the multiplication, or times, is going to equal some number. So 0.6 times 96 is 57.6. So 57.6 is 60% of 96. Try example 3 on your own here, so pause the video and see if you can get the right answer. So we're going to take 0.45 times 70, and we get 31.5. So 31.5 is 45% of 70. And if you think about that logically, it does make sense because we know that half, or 50% of 70 is 35. So we would expect 45% of 70 to be a little bit less than 35. Now let's look at an equation when we're trying to find the percent. So remember, it's blank percent of blank is blank. And of is your multiplication and is your equal sign. The percent here is what we don't know. It says what percent. So that's going to be our variable. So x of 410 is 287. And we usually write this as 410x. So we want to divide both sides by 410. And our percent, remember, it's going to show up as a decimal. It's showing up as 0.7175. Let's go ahead and round to the nearest tenths. For right now, we may do hundredths on your homework, so just make sure you're reading the directions. But in order to change it to a decimal or a percent, we need to move our decimal 2 places to the right. So it's 71.8%. So 287 is 71.8% of 410. Let's look at another one. 15 is what percent of 125? So the percent is what we're trying to find out. That's our variable. Times 125 equals 15. So what percent of 125, that's our whole, is 15. And again, we usually write 125x. If you can solve it without rewriting it, you're more than welcome to do that. So we need to take 15 and divide it by 125. 15 divided by 125 is 0.12, or 12%. Again, make sure if it's asking you for a percentage that you are writing it as a percentage with the symbol. Try example 6 on your own, so pause the video here, see if you can solve this one. 20 is what percent of 400? So 400x equals 20. Divide both sides by 400. 20 divided by 400 is 0.05, or if we move the decimal place twice, 5%. The last type of example is now when you're supposed to find the whole. So we have 33 is 55% of what number? So the percentage is what we know. Remember, again, it's blank percent of blank is blank, where of is your multiplication and is your equal sign. So 33 goes down here. 55%, but you need to change it to a decimal, so 0.55, and we don't know the whole, so that's our x. We're going to divide both sides by 0.55. If we're trying to find the whole, this number should definitely be larger than 33. You take 33 and you divide it by 0.55, we get 60. So 33 is 55% of 60. Here we have 18 is 30% of what number? So we need to change the 30% to a decimal. We don't know the whole, that's our x, and it's equal to 18. So we divide both sides by 0.30 or 0.3, that is the same thing. 18 divided by 0.30 is also 60. So that means that 18 is 30% of 60. Now you could check your answer by taking 18 divided by 60, and you should get 0.3 or 30%. So you can always verify your answers here. Last example, pause the video here and try this type on your own. So if 79 is 80% of what number? So 0.80 or 0.8 of x is equal to 79. Divide both sides by 0.8. And we get 98.75. So 79 is 80% of 98.75. And again, you can check 79 divided by 98.75 should be 80%. And it is in fact 0.8, which is 80% if you move the decimal place twice. So now we know two methods to finding percents, parts, or wholes using the proportion and now using the equation. We'll work on worksheet 7.5 in class.